Hey comic fans, this is Mars J Ultra once again. Welcome to Comics Forevermore, and this is my first video for the channel. Give you a little bit about myself. I started collecting comics back in the 80s. I think 83, 84. I can't remember when, but it's been that long, and I've been collecting ever since. And you know, being a shy introverted little kid, that's all I had. I didn't have much friends, but what I did have was my love for comics, my big imagination, and my love for writing. Started writing a lot of in-depth story, complex stories, world building, and I've been doing it, and I loved it. The thing that got me into comics really heavy was coming home from school, after school, running home to watch cartoons, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Silverhawks, Thundercats. I loved all that stuff. Another thing, grabbing the paper, the Sunday paper, and reading the comic strip. One of my favorite comic strip from that time was Calvin and Hobbes by Bill Watterson. It was awesome. I blew my mind. You know, this thing, I probably read Calvin and Hobbes over 100 times. I think this is volume 2. I have volume 1 somewhere in my collection, and that thing is tore up, it's beat up, cover is probably gone, but I loved it. And I got that from, I think, from either a yard sale or flea market, and I went everywhere with it. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Bill was good at writing, just throwing adult issues into a kid's book, and he did it in a way where when reading as a kid, you could know what he's talking about, but you still enjoyed it because there's a perfect balance of a 5-year-old's life and a grown-up. You know, is Calvin's parents. Bill would discuss, you know, parent issues, raising kids. Calvin dealt with bullies at school. Girl he had a crush on, or she had a crush on him. I wasn't too sure because they didn't treat each other too friendly. You know, kids do that all the time. Kid issues that Calvin would deal with, besides his adventure with Hobbes. Life, philosophy, childbirth. Believe it or not, it did. Look at that. That is awesome. That is pure fun right there. That is, I'm talking about, man, that right there is really what being a kid was all about. This thing is awesome. I would recommend this to any parent. It's 207 pages, pretty cheap, $16.95. It's well worth it. 17 bucks. Any parent, I recommend this to any parent. Just buy this, whether it's for you or your child, or you want to give it as a gift. Birthday, Christmas. It's pretty thick. 207 pages, keep him busy for a while, but it's awesome. You know, Calvin would go through a lot of different things in here. You know, getting his hair cut by his tiger, which is kind of impossible because the tiger wasn't real, and tiger messed his hair up, and his mom has to wear a little hat to cover the bad haircut. His mom got pretty mad at him for cutting his own hair. His mom didn't believe him that the tiger cut his hair. Look at how bad that haircut is. So, you know, he had to go to school like that until his hair grew back. But I loved it. Another dinosaur. He's critiquing art. You know, Calvin was into art. Yeah, different adventures that he would go on. It was awesome. He's duplicating himself, so, you know, he could get into more trouble. You know, it would get into pretty deep subjects at times, but Bill knew how to write it in a way where if you're a 5-6-year-old, you would understand what he's talking about. And if you're reading as an adult, you would grasp it and understand, and you would enjoy it. And Bill knew how to walk that fine line. Whatever magic he tapped into, it was awesome. He walked that fine line between a 5-year-old and a grown-up. This is Bill's actual artwork. Looks awesome. I'm sure he could have been a great animator if he wanted to, but I'll probably read this again after I finish with the video. I think with Bill, I think he got a little jaded by the industry. He didn't like the way the industry would portray an artist. The book ran from 85 to 95. He won 7 awards for the comic strip, and they're collected in book form. So it ran for 10 years. Then, he put a little letter in there in a comic strip saying that he was retiring the character. He himself was retiring after 10 years. He said he did everything he wanted to do with the character, told all the stories he wanted to tell. I think he was just tired of the way the industry was going. Corporatization was coming in. He didn't like the way companies were dealing with artists, and they were starting to shorten the strip, the comic strips, making it shorter, and he didn't like that. He wanted artists to have as much freedom as they needed to tell a story, and comic strips were getting popular back then, and they were cutting them short for more artists to come in so that companies could make more money. And Bill, he didn't like that. He retired, and they kept wanting him to come back. He's like, no, I'm done. I told all the stories I needed to tell with the character. And there were reporters going after Bill, not going after him, to do harm, but they were trying to get him to come back. Or they were asking him, hey, are you going to do another Calvin and Hobbes? He's like, no, I'm done. That's it. The interviews that he did were very rare. I think it was 3 interviews that he's done since he retired in 1995. And he just had enough of it. He didn't want to keep doing it. I don't blame him. It's a tough business getting into comics. He saw that the business was destroying itself, and he wanted to get out while he was still doing good, and he did. And now he's retired up in the mountains in Washington D.C. somewhere, and he doesn't do interviews. He's enjoying his life, which is great. Any artist would love to have that at the top of their career, to just say, hey, that's it. But Bill had that special gift, and as a child, you read his material, Bill knew how to portray that and give you the story that you wanted as a kid, and it was wonderful. It was great. It was awesome. But I recommend this to any parent. Pick it up, keep it for yourself, buy a few copies, give it as gifts to kids or other grown-ups. It's awesome. The colors is awesome. I love the line work that Bill does. It pretty much captures every child's imagination. It's pretty good stuff. I love this thing. I can't get enough of it. Like I said, he went through different issues in the comic strip. There were some issues that kids deal with, and there were some issues that adults deal with. But the way Bill pulled it off, it was phenomenal. One thing, every time I look at this, and when they say, "Oh, comic books are for kids" or "cartoons are for kids," don't listen to that, because it's nonsense. It really is, because without imagination, we as human beings wouldn't be much. We wouldn't be anywhere. Because imagination leads to invention leads to discoveries. So when they say, oh yeah, you 40 something and you're reading comics, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't listen to them. Just enjoy it. It's the one thing you get to do in life after you work, pay your bills, struggle. take care of yourself. It's the one thing that you really get to sit down and enjoy for 24 pages or 32 pages, whatever you're reading, 207 pages, whatever you're reading. As long as you enjoy it and you get something out of it, don't hold on too much to the seriousness that comes with being a grown-up. It'll tear you down. It'll beat you up. Just hold on to a little part of being a kid, being a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. As long as you still be a responsible adult, that's what matters. That's what life is all about. Have that little sparkle in your eye that all kids have. That little chase your dreams, go looking for adventure. That's what it's all about, man. But yeah, that's it. Calvin and Hobbes. Tell me how you like the video. Leave a comment, like, share the video on social media, and let me know what you think. Anything you want to talk about in the comment section. Comic books, anime, manga, movies, anything. There's a lot more I have in store coming up, so look out for that. There's some pretty exciting stuff I got for you guys, and check it out. Plus, check out my upcoming book also. There's some pretty awesome stuff coming. The characters, I'll give you a little preview of the characters so you can see it. And I'll be promoting the book, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave all the links in the description. Check me out. Send me a message. Share all my information. Comics Forevermore. My name is Mars J Ultra, and I'll see you in another dimension.